It is early morning, but spectators are already in the stands. One-on-one fights, more commonly known as duels, are on the list. The duel is the oldest and most popular fighting configuration of the Middle Ages. The duels will be 3-round fights, 1.5 minutes each, with fighters using different weapons in each round. Long swords will be used in the first round. In the second round, a single-handed sword and buckler will be used. A buckler is a small shield. In the third and final round, a single-handed sword and standard-sized shield are used. Battles of this configuration are very popular, allowing fighters to achieve glory, honor, and popularity. The lists are ready for battle. Here are the first duels, 1 against 1. The long sword will be used in the first round. It can be used one-handed or two-handed. It is a serious weapon that can inflict powerful blows. The sword buckler. It is important for a fighter to strike 3 blows on his opponent with a one-handed sword in 3 sub-rounds of this round before the opponent can do the same. A sword and standard shield are used for the third round. The maximum length of the shield cannot exceed 70 centimeters. The aim is to strike as many blows as possible. Because the long sword is a bladed weapon weighing up to 3 kilograms, it's possible to knock down an opponent in the first round and win the battle early. He won the first round, but I won the second one. The third round had to take place, but the fighter from Poland had a nosebleed due to a severe blow. I hit him strong on the head, and he was bleeding, and he withdrew from the battle. Ivan Vasiliev, a member of the Russian national team, won the duel. Duels are being fought throughout the morning. Each country is represented by 4 fighters. On the first day of the championship, they participate in fights held within their groups. They compete for the right to enter the next round. In duels, the main skill needed is an ability to make sure that your sword strikes quickly, accurately, and with strength. Fighters get 1 point for every blow struck with the point of their weapon, if it reaches the opponent. The winner is the man who strikes more blows, and the number of rounds won determines who wins the overall battle. Wrestling is prohibited. Blows struck with shields or the flat of the sword are not counted. All duels are attentively observed by marshals. Here we have an interesting duel between Polish fighter Martin Garcia and a fighter from Ukraine, Oleg Podluzhny. The men show great speed in the first round. Oleg Podluzhny makes use of an opportunity, holding the sword in one hand and striking successful blows, even though he does so from an uncomfortable position. Meanwhile, Martin Garcia uses the power of the long sword to strike the toughest blows against his opponent. It's a quick, tough battle, and this is just the first round. Oleg Podluzhny attacks vigorously in the second round. Garcia can hardly parry the blows. Super fast movements and tough strikes. Only time will tell us the winner. The results will be known in the third round. A cautious beginning. An attack. An active exchange of blows. Martin Garcia is left-handed, so opponents need to be careful if they're not accustomed to that. Finally, a command arrives. Stop the battle. Marshals are consulting before they'll declare the results. Was he strong? Not strong, but a good fighter. He's not strong, he's fast. The strength is not the main point, but he's fast, very fast. There are 3 main things for a battle: strength, speed, and intelligence. This battle is won by Oleg Podluzhny, a member of the Ukrainian national team, in Battle of the Nations. Meanwhile, back in the field camp, having read a lot of books by Tolkien, perhaps like all young people, I adored them. And I took part in the movement of role players. But then my older friend took me away from there. They said it was worth it to devote time to more interesting and serious things. They explained to me that reenactment is a recreation of certain epochs, countries, and time periods, etc. I asked them, what about the fights? Would we fight? And they said, yes. A position to battle. The left hand in the front, the left leg in the front. Novice reenactor Artem Terakov gets his first lessons in combat craft from older brothers in arms. Halberds appeared on the European battlefield in the early 14th century. This weapon is a mixture of a spear and an axe. For the first time, they were used by the Swiss infantry in the Battle of Sempach. Actually, the simplest halberd is called Sempacher. It has the classic Sempach form. The French called it the Vouge. Warriors could cut and stab with it. Fighters can hit opponents on their head to disorient. The halberd, a powerful infantry weapon. We're back to the list. Fights in a spectacular battle configuration are about to begin. These are the group battles, 5 versus 5. The best thing about this event is that it gathers fighters from all countries. Not just clubs, but national teams come here. Over a period of about a year, they must suffer through many qualifying tournaments. Only the best fighters remain. Group battles, 5 versus 5, are dynamic and exhilarating. The audience sees almost the entire range of techniques employed during medieval historical battle, the so-called HMB. Here, in comparison to duels, in addition to individual combat skills, teamwork is the key. At first, the configuration known as Group Battle 5 versus 5 were held only off-season, from the late autumn up to the early spring, when no major festivals or massed bullhearts are held. However, both fighters and spectators liked this configuration, and it took a prominent place at festivals and tournaments. We are sitting and watching, not resting. Specific teams, we see them for the first time. All the teams that form the Russian national team are our main opponents. We know them well, they know us well. But concerning these new teams, we don't know their tactics. Battle of the Nations, the World Championship. All teams are strong. They're not here by accident. This is the first time so many teams and fighters have gathered together. For the first time, participating countries formed their national teams. Now they are all here in Khotyn at Battle of the Nations. Only one nation will win. Only one will be the champion in this new sport. All teams must overcome fatigue, fear, and the fierce resistance of their opponents. All want victory. These are tough battles for men, real men. Russia is seriously determined to win. We are winning, except for these guys, but I believe they will show their best in the second battle. The Russian national team has been a clear favorite in 5x5 battles. Other teams are finding it hard to compete. Experienced fighters of the Russian national team are like a hurricane that knocks down everything on its way. We have to support Ukraine, the fairest spectators, the fairest players. Russia is so tough that it's scary. Unfortunately, we're unable to show you all the exciting fights or explain the rules in detail. We only have time to present the fundamentals. You can read and watch more about historical medieval battles on the internet. Many sites provide video archives, rules, and other information. On our programs, we present you with an overall view of the worldwide movement in general, and with information about the World Championship, Battle of the Nations. Tens of thousands of people worldwide are involved in historical reenactment, and the biggest festivals gather up to 5,000 participants. But only 5 to 10% of those have armor and can participate in the full contact battles. We hail their strength and courage. They are students, managers, teachers, regular people in every walk of life who meet the challenge of the lists and fight for the honor of their nation. All opponents are strong enough, but we think that we'll show our best. A battle between the teams of Belarus and Ukraine begins soon. We are the strongest, the most skilled, and the best trained. We will win. A Belarusian 5-member team has entered the list. Not only a single club participates in 5x5 battles, it's a national team. And our task was to turn them into one combat group force, to teach them to think like a single organism. Representatives of different clubs, but they must act as a team. This is the main point. To the battle! The first round between the teams of Belarus and Ukraine. Blows and struggle. And here we can see attack from the back. A fighter from Ukraine is falling down, and he covers a fighter from Belarus with his body. The Ukrainian fighters are attacking actively, but the Knight Marshal stops the battle. Something has happened. A fighter from the Belarusian team is lying on the ground, gravely hurt, bravely enduring severe pain. The injury was serious. A splint was applied to it. He's ready to be transported about 200 kilometers. We hope that the injury heals quickly and that the doctors succeed in helping the stricken fighter. But on the list, the Belarusian team has substituted another fighter, and the battle continues. The Belarusians are angry. They want to avenge their fallen comrade. Ukrainian fighters are trying to resist. Fierce struggle. A decisive blow. The Belarusian 5-member team wins. We had very strong opponents, but we appear to be stronger. On the video replay, we see that when the Belarusian fighter fell down, one of the opponents fell on top of him, and the Belarusian fighter probably fractured his femur. He was able to endure extreme pain, which speaks to the strength of his character. Injuries are a casual thing for us in our sport. My visor opened and the blade hit me on the bridge of my nose. Just a moment. Let me take off the helmet. I think people who get injured are responsible for it. The cause may be different. Problems with the fit of the armor, lack of preparation. Anything can happen. We all try to be careful, but injuries do occur. Of course, no one injures opponents intentionally. Every time fighters go to the list, they know they can suffer painful trauma. Everything's okay, it's just a cut. We have no injured men, all of them are okay. But someone has a cut on his eyebrow. Well, that might be, but it's not an injury. An injury is when a person falls down and can't stand up. Cuts are not considered. Now let's pay attention to archery, another area of historical reenactment of the Middle Ages. There are always a lot of people willing to try it because this is the oldest of crafts. We recreate the type of shooting that was used in olden days. You see a target, aim your bow, or even not, and immediately release an arrow. You have only a moment to assess and understand what's going on and to hit the target. There's no time to think. The mind must be free of all thoughts. The moment is the here and now. It's nearly the same thing as to fight on the lists. Archery attracts many people. The ability to shoot well was very important in the Middle Ages. When a horseman rides a horse, he moves up and down quickly. It's very difficult to hold an arrow with the usual European grip. When a horse gallops, it moves back and forth. So Mongols did it this way. They put an arrow on the other side and took it with a thumb with a ring on it like this and pressed the arrow to the bow of the shaft with a forefinger. It's almost impossible to take aim with your eyes. Only an intuitive feeling helps to hit the target. Like this. Archery has always attracted many people. But many other fans want to feel the steel of armor on their shoulders and a sword in their hands. So this is a small workshop for all who are interested. This time the battle gave me a real pleasure. Because sitting on the stands, we were ready to go and help our national team. A man showed us what was really going on. Everything was really on the verge of the human capabilities. I can boast that several times my sword reached a professional opponent, but in the end he beat me. Did you use all your strengths? Of course not. We even use tournament swords, which are not used for bowhurts. It's much easier than in a tournament, when the winner is determined according to the points. For bowhurts, we use heavier weapons. That's why we fought not at full strength. But it was fun. It was worth spending 5 hours in a car to get here and participate in the battles. The evening sun lights up the list. And it's time for battles in the configuration of 21 versus 21. All national teams choose participants and determine their tactics for future battles. These are the Buharts. We're preparing for battles 21 versus 21. We've been waiting for them for a long time, and we've been preparing, and we hope to win. The first battle is between the national team of Russia and Ukraine. The fighters have gathered on the list. These are the first mass battles in the 21 versus 21 configurations. No one wants to lose. The tension is in the air, and here comes the order. To the battle. The teams begin to move forward, and the battle begins. Who will win? Battle of the Nations. To be continued.